And we are live with Allison from Gilbert Taping. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Very good. You were just up in the Northwest Territories. Will you tell me about that?
It's a company we've been working for since we started taping. And they've been taking jobs up north like that, and they asked us if we'd be interested. So we did one last summer. Went on 2 trips, and then they had an apartment building they were working on, and they're like, "Yeah, we're starting this around Christmas time. Are you interested?" And we said we'd be interested as long as we don't spend Christmas up there.
Yeah, that's key,
So
right? Yeah.
yeah, they were open to that. They said, "Yeah, it's up to you on your schedule." And I mean, it's good money when you work out of town, so we
Oh,
weren't gonna say
totally.
no.
So are you doing piecework or how is that? By the project or?
Yeah, so they gave us the option basically to do whether we wanted piecework or hourly, but piecework pays a lot better.
Oh,
So
totally. Yeah,
we always do that.
when you're a little faster, yeah. Um,
Exactly.
are you still using the boxes?
Yes, we are. They're great. At
Yeah.
first, when we first got our Columbia boxes, we were a bit unsure about them just because it's so new, and we're like, how do people use them and get them to look good? Like we were just going wiggly
It's
on the
all over the
walls.
place. Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
were like, oh my God, we're supposed to make videos, but we're terrible with this. But no, now that's all we use. Mostly for our second coat, we like to still go for our finish by hand just because we just prefer to do it that way. We still haven't gotten to practice the boxes for finish, but I'm sure we could and still get it to look good. But
Yeah, for sure. So you use like trowels mostly, right? Is what it looks like.
yeah,
Like for your finishing stuff.
we always use our trowels. Yeah, we've never really learned any other ways. Just knife and trowel, and we stuck to that.
That's awesome. That takes a little bit more finesse. Like I've never used trowels. It's always been knives. Like I'll get to like a 12 or a 14-inch knife, at least back before the Columbia stuff.
Yeah,
And I always wish that I had learned the trowel kind of way of doing things because it just seems to be a lot more smooth at the end of it all. Like I don't know how to explain it. It's when you see you guys using them, it looks a lot more smooth than somebody doing like a hawk and knife.
yeah. I've seen like the lines are almost straighter with the trowel for some reason.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've never actually used a taping knife other than like my 6 inch. So
yeah.
that's something I've also like been looking at. I'm like, that would be fun to have mostly for I don't know if you've ever done stuff where you have to go in like a 6 inch gap and go like start to tape it further, like in a corner. And like
Hmm.
your trowel and your hand won't fit in there. So I'm like, I should totally get those 12-inch knives and just
Just for the
make
corner of
everything. Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Mm.
When you're doing units like that, are you running the Predator or are you doing your tube and for the corners?
Um, for taping, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, we've used the bazooka a few times, but we find it so heavy that we stick to
Yeah.
our super taper mostly. Like I love the idea of the bazooka, but with like how much footage we do in a day, it's so hard. Like we're smaller girls too, so
That's kind
it
of why
gets
I'm asking
heavy
because
and
it is. Yeah.
and like even if one of the guys we work for told us not to fill it all the way through just so it's
Yeah, just put four or five
lighter.
pumps in it. Yeah.
Yeah, but we do that, and even after a while like our shoulders are just dead, so we stick with our super taper. Like we do it in a way Kayla's doing the tops, I'm at the bottoms, and then I do the stairs or the scaffolding. So it works for us. Like we have a couple of flushers, so we still use them for our corners, but we put the tape on just with our super taper, and it's
Yeah.
worked for us for.
There is something to be said for, not reinventing the wheel, right? Like when you're saying the super taper, you're pulling it through mud, like into a box.
Yeah, so that's it's that the super taper goes into your bucket of mud. We just
Mhm.
you need to have your mud even, I think, even oh, what's the word?
Like,
More runny
yeah, it's
than
like
you
soup
do in your
almost. Yeah.
yeah.
The first
Then
time that I saw
it's
somebody do that, I freaked out because I like to do inside corners was always the most difficult. When I like way back when I learned, I was just using like a 3.5 inch knife with a pan, and you're just kind of going up all the corners.
oh
So
yeah.
the first time that he just threw it in there and then used a roller, I was like, this is insane.
It's like, yeah, innovative.
Yeah, it's there's something to be said for you can't let it dry out at all though. Like you really got
Oh
to
no.
get it on the wall quick. Last year we did a couple of jobs where somebody came in and did a first coat and the homeowners were like they didn't want them to continue. And in a lot of them, when you put that second coat up, the tape would come off. And I think it's because they were leaving it to like it was drying up before they applied it to the wall.
I find also if they don't leave enough mud behind it, then it's just there's nothing to hold it there. It's just a dry tape against the drywall. It's not gonna stay there. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Or
that's
even
wicked.
when wiping it, if you remove all the mud, then what are you like even sticking your tape with, right?
Yeah. How long have you been on TikTok?
um well, I've been on there for a long time, but making taping videos, I started, I want to say, a year and a half to 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah, I actually I think I had my account just to watch videos like for a long time.
same.
And
Yep.
at one point, Kayla tagged me on a video. I don't know the guy's name, but his TikTok is J Will Finishes.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. And one of his videos was like, oh, you've made it to drywall TikTok. Stay as long as you can. And it's like satisfying. You just see him like slapping mud on the walls. I'm like, that's so
Yeah.
satisfying. Like, I need to make taping videos. So I just like started posting random stuff
Yeah.
and yeah, blew up.
When we that first time that we talked, I think is when you got the Predator. And I was like, oh, are you doing Predator month or whatever? And you were like, are you on TikTok? So then when I saw your account on TikTok, I was like, holy shit. You have like a 500,000 followers or something like that.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like that's
crazy.
insane. Yeah, that's pretty cool stuff though. It is super satisfying to watch taping uh
Yeah.
on TikTok. Same with like some of the carpentry stuff too. But yeah, the taping stuff, you could get, 10 or 15 seconds of someone doing like a perfect run of something. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I find there's so many things of our job, even just while you're working, you watch yourself work and it's we have such a satisfying job. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's what I really like about the boxes is like once you kind of figure out you do a test wall and then get your setting for the day kind of thing and then you're off to the races. But when you come back, it's pretty well perfect. And then you're just a quick little buff and then you do it again a certain way. Like the boxes, it's almost like I don't want to say like an art, but there's like a step process to it and it just stays so clean. It's
Mhm.
very satisfying. Like doing butt joints now I love it. That
Yeah.
either side 3, and then if it's crazy, go even further than that. Um, when they sent me the 14, it was when you start using that, like you've got it set on like a 5 because all you're doing is just the outside of everything else with it. It's very satisfying. Yeah,
Yeah.
I absolutely agree.
I still haven't touched butt joints with my boxes. I'm terrified of
No,
that. I'm like, we love to do our butts because we always do a lot of like custom homes that are just really big. So we're like, we can't do all our second coat in one day regardless. So we'll do our
right.
butts and our corners in one day. And then the next day we just get our flats to run through them.
Nice.
And so we don't really want to even try it because like I don't want to get those boxes dirty 2 days in a row. So
Yeah.
like, I'll use my trowel. It's just I'm so used to it by now. We just do a quick butt. It's done with, right? So
Yeah, kind of the first time that I posted it all about the boxes, it's when you go from hand taping to running like a 10 or a 12-inch box, it's really heavy.
Hmm.
like especially at the end of like an extendable, like a 7 or 8 foot pole. It's a shoulder workout for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
And I use my 12. Like I know lots of people will go with their 10, then 12, then the 14 or whatever. But
Mhm.
Kayla usually does the ceilings with the 10, so I just run the 12 on the walls like first coat. So it's like you have to
Okay.
push so hard to like actually get it um not, well, at least for me.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
have
say
to
you're
push
probably like
really hard
leaning into it.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would film myself at first. I was like, I'm walking like this. Like,
Yeah, just dragging it along the wall.
yeah, it's hilarious.
Getting that mud consistency the first time, did you guys have fun doing that?
Oh yeah, at first we were like, well, it can't be too soft, right? It's for your flats. Like
Yeah.
in our heads, it's like second coat's always harder than your finish. So it's, but now you almost have to do it as runny as your finish coat, otherwise it won't go through the box. And I
Yeah.
was a bit scared of that because I was like, well, it's not gonna dry properly, but now we've got it all down. So it works great.
The first time that I did it, I think I put like 5 or 6 sponges of water in the bucket. And when I put it against the wall and I like pushed on it, it like just it blew up out of the end of the box. Just it's like stupid amount of pressure. So we like cleaned all of that up and licked our wounds a little bit and like added a half a box of mud to it, and it kind of evened itself out. But yeah, I feel like you can try and use the same amount of sponges every time, but it's never perfect. It's never the exact same.
Yeah, well, your boxes of mud are never exactly the same consistency either once
That's what
you
I
like
mean.
empty them. So it's
Yeah.
when people ask me like, "Oh, what's the consistency of your mud?" I'm like, "I don't know. Like just like this, look at this video and try to get it to look the same." Like it's
I typically pull that mixer out and kind of judge how long it takes to fall off the mixer. That's
okay,
that's
yeah.
like the best I got, right? Yeah, short of that, I don't know. You just run it, right? And that's kind of where the dial's coming in a little bit more with me is if it's how it's going on the wall. So
Yeah.
I'll either like a 2 or a 3 or whatever. Um, oh, I can't believe you're not doing your butt joints with the box though. I find it so much
No,
easier. Yeah.
I should try it. I struggle to get my pressure right on the box when doing it like that way when our flats are um vertical on the walls. Like
Yeah.
I struggle with it where I just got so used to doing it
Oh,
that
like
way that
from the floor up.
yeah.
That
Yeah.
sucks. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
it, especially if I like my consistency a little bit thicker. Like I don't mind pushing a little bit harder. But yeah, getting it from the ground up, I think, is the worst part. But I'm also super tall, right? So it's very kind of awkward.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, for sure.
Because how that's what I mean. Because to do your butts, you have to do it that way also, right? So
Yeah, typically I'll come up like a foot, like I'll hit it twice up and then down through it, like down through that break mark. But it's definitely my least favorite part. Anything like a
yeah.
foot off of the ground, I'm not a big fan of.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's wicked. Did you end up doing anything else or did you go right into taping?
um
Like
like for work,
construction
you mean?
wise? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Construction wise, no. I graduated high school and I worked in an office for like 6 months and then I
Mhm.
was off to taping.
Yeah, good for you. There's a lot of people that get into, oh, okay, what didn't you like about the office work?
Sitting down,
Yeah,
just
okay.
I loved the people I worked with were all like great and they were like, "Oh, we'll give you a raise, like whatever you need." And I'm like, I can't do this. Even if I'm only making a couple more bucks an hour, like starting taping, it's not even about the money. It's like I'm hurt sitting here. Whereas
Yeah.
moving, I'm fine. I'll still hit the gym after work and I'm fine. But when it comes to office work, I'd get home and I just wanted to sleep. Like,
You're mentally exhausted and your
yeah,
body's all wound up. That's what I was.
yeah.
I had I worked for American Express, believe it or not, for 3 weeks. The first 2 weeks were learning everything. It was their concierge service, like you call a card and we do things for you kind of thing. And I had like an office and a cappuccino machine that was free, 10 feet from me. And it was like a great atmosphere, but I couldn't do it. I just couldn't sit and do nothing all day.
Yeah,
And
no, exactly.
I think some people see that and they go, yeah, I guess, and you'll get a raise and it'll get better, and it just never does. And they kind of get
Yeah, no.
stuck there. So yeah, good for you. That's the trades are
Yeah,
better
no.
anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Well, even one of the accountants, he was like, yeah, every lunchtime we'll do a little workout all together, like half an hour, like whoever is interested. And I was like, yeah, I'll join that. And I joined that for a while. We did it like in the warehouse.
That's cool.
That was connected. But even then I was like, my back hurts so much just by
I'm
sitting here all
just
day. And
sitting.
I was 18. I'm like, I can't do this. Like, even though there was so much opportunity for me to grow within that company, I was like, I can't. Like now my back still hurts, but it's okay.
It's a different thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
I was gonna say that's hilarious that you left a office job for a sore back and got into taping.
Yeah.
That's usually the killer.
And now I'm sore everywhere, so like it evens out.
So what are you guys averaging? Did the two of you work separately or together, like as a team?
We're always together. We take
Yeah,
houses
okay.
and it's just the two of us, so we just get in a house, get it done, and then get
Just
to the
run with
next
it.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's wicked. Like, what's your average board feet that you're doing in like a week or project size or whatever?
Well, we do a lot of really big houses. Like I was saying, like
Hmm.
we've done the one that was 60,000 square foot of board. So big houses, like big
Yeah.
customs. But like the average custom they give us is around 20,000 square foot. I want to
Okay.
say we, depending on like the custom work, like if it's regular board count, like we can get around 15,000 a week together.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but we do lots of stuff with like beads around every window and
Oh
stuff
yeah,
like
and
that. It's
specific
like,
bulkheads and yeah.
yeah, like so much customs work that sometimes obviously will take much longer, even though it's the same footage. But at the end of the day, the paycheck's better anyway, so it doesn't matter to us, right?
Totally, totally. Um, that's kind of why I got back into taping. I was talking to Brad, and he was saying that like the tapers there aren't going to be any good tapers in 10 years. Right now I see people like you and I'm like, there's hope, but I think it's 2035. The statistic is something like 750,000 trades people are going to retire that year.
Oh,
It's like
wow.
750,000. Poof. And those are all the good people, right? Assumably.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see what's going to happen, because I think things like finishing and like the real skill set work is going to go through the roof in the next little while. We're already starting to see it in the commercial sector where, the quotes that are coming in, if you want an actual taper on your site, as opposed to like a couple guys that do drywall that kind of get it, it's like a vastly different price.
Yeah, well, even like already I see every companies we work for, they tell us they need tapers. Like
Yeah.
everyone's looking for tapers. So that's the thing though that I think with social media, because all of us are like kind of blowing up and like showing taping and people
Oh,
finding
totally.
satisfying. So maybe we'll be able to reach some younger people that will want to like learn it and join the trades. But
I mean, if there's a 20-year-old kid out there listening that wants to learn how to tape, absolutely. I think everybody should have some sort of an apprentice that's working underneath them, but that's just not how drywall works, right? There's never
yeah,
been I guess there's a union, there is, but I mean, it's not, um, two people doing a 60,000 board foot house like that. That to me is
yeah,
where you're going to learn to tape, right?
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah, I kind of like that detail work though. How do you feel about it? Is it a pain in the ass because it's harder for the same money, or do you enjoy like making things perfect?
Like I do enjoy it. Like I am a perfectionist and so is Kayla. So we
Yeah.
do like having the opportunity to like work on something different, and it's like I've never done something like that before, but I'm willing to do it, and I know I'll do it
Totally.
properly. And that's what the guy we work for says too. He's like, I know you girls can do it, and I don't want my other crews on there. Like,
Yeah.
but all like after a while, like I think for a year straight, it was just custom after custom, like huge houses. So we told the guy, we're like, can we get in a cookie cutter, like for
Yeah.
a month or something, please?
We just go run the tools and have fun for 2 sites
Yeah,
and then we'll come back. Yeah.
it's like I do love it because now that like I can learn on my own kind of. I guess once you get like the to a point in taping, it's not as bad to learn things on your own and kind of like just explore it and figure out how to do it without guidance. So I do like it, but other than like sometimes it's just like, okay, enough. Like that's
Mhm.
enough windows with beads around them. Like I don't need this anymore.
Yeah.
Why do people not want trims? Like please.
I actually started telling people that um, I wasn't doing window returns anymore. Like we would just build a box, like a wood box, and set it in and then trim it out. It looks, in my opinion, it looks way better anyways. But doing the inside of windows and like putting the J on, and it's never proper everywhere. And unless you framed it, it's never done properly. So
Yeah.
yeah, what a headache. Um, I'm kind of spoiled because I'm not taping all the time, right? I've got contracts running sites. So I get to kind of pick and choose the ones now.
Yeah.
And like Judd from JT Carpentry, we're doing his JT Custom Carpentry, sorry. We're doing his house that he's flipping right now. And it is 6,000 board feet. And I think there's like maybe 12 butt joints in the whole house.
Oh.
Like they just did 12s everywhere. It's so beautiful, but he's got this wooden archway that they wanted to keep from the original house. I think it's the only thing that's still original in the house. And all the aesthetic work that it's going to take to make that look good around it is it's going to be a fucking nightmare. But I'm looking forward to it.
Are you bringing drywall like right up to that archway? You mean? Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always
And
the worst.
and it's not like perfect everywhere because it's old, right? And it's beautiful. He's gonna have to paint it because there was a bunch of stuff he had to fix on it, which is a bummer. But I look forward to that stuff because I know it's only this much of it, so make this look perfect. The rest of it's easy. Yeah, I couldn't do it every day though. It's too much.
I feel like once you get like the beads all installed, it goes a lot smoother. Like for the rest of the house, just coating them is so much easier than installing them. Like
For sure.
we'll be taping a house and we're like 5 days into it, still putting beads and tearaways everywhere. We're like,
Yeah.
oh my God, we'll never get out of here. But like you start coding and it's like, oh, okay, it's going well. We're good.
So typically I'll do all of my 90 work in the corners first day, and I'll get all the flats and butts done first day. And then I'll come back and do inside and outside corners. So the inside corners are super quick because everything's perfect from the 90 from the day before. And then all of your outside corners, you've got at least half a day to put them up. And it's like my sites are never enormous, but like set them all with a laser, check every single one that it's perfect. And then when you come back, they just fill and it's perfect. Do you wipe the corner off when you do it? Like I always clean it off. Like as I'm coating the corner of a corner bead, I'll like run my thumb up it to make sure that stays like still exposed as plastic. And then it almost kind of backs it up again for the next day's layer. I don't know. I'll have to make a video about it and post
like
it.
if you're using a Trimtex, like the vinyl corner, you mean, or what?
No, like like a Trimtex plastic bead, or even metal bead. Metal bead's
like
actually
just
a
on
better
the corner?
example. Exactly. So you'd almost expose that hump of the corner.
Okay.
I've always done that, and I'm not sure why, but it comes out clean. You love, especially when you're coming back to do it a second or a third time, because that little bit that it fills in, I don't know. I think it holds better, I guess. I don't know. I like it.
Yeah,
But
no,
then
I've never done that.
when you've done good beadwork and you've got a three-way, you can see it still. Maybe that's what I like about it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've never even heard of that, but
Yeah.
I'll typically like coat it and go with my knife just to remove the little excess, but just so it stays nice and sharp, obviously. But
Yeah. That's more or less
huh.
what I was asking, is if you leave the crummy stuff on the outside.
Oh, okay, okay. I
Yeah.
thought you meant like you remove some to like
Oh
have the
no, 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 no.
yeah.
But it like in doing that, I do a little bit, I guess. But I mean, for years you would see people do a corner bead and they would leave that shit on there. And then as they ran their knife up the next day, it would all snap off. But then it like
Mm,
comes off in little chunks everywhere and it ends up looking super messy, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No, I always I'll clean it with my knife.
yeah, yeah. Right on. Oh, good. So when you're out of town, where are you staying? Like, do you get an Airbnb or do you get
Uh,
hotels?
so well the people we work for like they cover all that stuff, right? So they usually
Oh,
just book it
awesome.
for us, and
You just
yeah,
show up.
yeah. Well, we I guess for you, you're your own like company, so it's a bit
Yeah.
different, but we subcontract just the taping. So like
Okay.
the drywall company itself will be like, well, you're coming there. Here's where we'll have you stay. Is that okay? Yep. Okay.
That's
Booked.
perfect.
They book our flights. Everything's done for us. They got our whether like they'll be up there driving us to work or they'll have a rental car for us. That's all done for us. So we don't have anything to do other than hop on the plane and bring our tools, right?
That's
So
amazing. Do you
yeah.
ever have any trouble bringing your tools with you?
Well, our we've been bringing like this last trip. We brought our Columbia commando set, and
Yeah.
everyone is like, "Are you carrying a firearm?" And we're like, "Nope, they're tools." They told us like very likely they would be looking through our luggage, but
For
they
sure.
never have.
There's a lot
Um,
of metal, right? So I would
yeah,
imagine. Yeah.
but they did tell us like because I know you're allowed obviously to have extra luggage and you pay for it, but they always put it as like an extra suitcase. So if there's too much weight on the plane, then it's likely that it will get left behind.
Oh
And then you'll
shit.
have to wait for it. But we haven't had issues with it so far. So
Okay. Yeah, because that'd
yeah,
be devastating. You show up to work and there's no tools to work.
it can't work. Yeah. Well, yeah, I wouldn't mind if it's on the way back because I'm taking days off anyways. But like on
Yeah,
the way
totally.
there, that would just suck.
With most of my out of town stuff, they would like give you X amount of money and then you'd go figure it out. So that being supplied all that is much less of a headache.
Yeah, exactly. I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
because I
wicked.
it's in the Northwest Territories too, so it's smaller towns. Like there's not much big stuff up there other than maybe Yellowknife, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, they figure it all out for us. We don't have to worry about it.
So are they always the same? Like, is it like housing or commercial, or do you just kind of take whatever they have when they offer it, or how does that work?
um well, that's just our second job we do up there, and I'm not even sure how they get the jobs up there. I guess they probably started with quoting one and it worked out and their name got out there that
Yep.
yeah, those guys are willing to come up here to do taping and drywall. So but yeah, last time we did like in Bechoco in Northwest Territories as well. It was like a cultural center. So
Hmm.
I think their other one was don't quote me on that, but I think it was like the walls were moldy and stuff, so they needed a new one.
Oh, it was a big
Um,
tear out.
so I don't know if you've seen my post on that one, but it was like the one with the big circle uh wall, like it was a big room, just the whole it was just a big circular room and little extra things, but
So the walls were like a big sphere almost.
yeah, yeah.
That's
Except
wild.
like the ceiling was flat, but like the whole wall was like a almost like a big tube, like that room was.
That would have been rough. Would you
Yeah, it
skim the
wasn't
whole
too
thing?
bad.
Oh,
No,
oh, really?
it was such a big room that like you almost didn't feel how
Okay.
the curve in it. But yeah, and now the job we're doing is in Inuvik, and it's just like an apartment complex that they're building. So yeah, I
That's
don't
cool.
I don't think I would go up there to do like a house,
Yeah,
but like because it's bigger buildings and stuff. I'm like, yeah, and like if we decided we didn't feel like going on the fourth trip or something, they're fine with that. They'll send other tapers. Like they're
that's
really
cool.
good with that. They're so like they're like it's whatever you want to do, basically.
There's no like feeling of obligation.
Yeah, no.
That was always hard when I was working out of town. Like typically we were framing and drywalling. So when we were slow, and we would go up for Monday to the following Friday and then come home for 2 days and go back. And a lot of the time they'd ask you to stay those 2 days. So, and then you would, right? Because you just knew that you were behind or whatever. But then you were almost a month before you'd come home. It was crazy.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's what I like about just having that like freedom. Obviously, I wouldn't be like, yeah, no, send me up there 3 days because then it's like they have to pay for our flight, and I'm obviously gonna think about that and not make them do that. So like we do usually 2 weeks trips, and that's what they had told us before. Like we were good with that.
2 weeks is a solid amount of time to go. Like how many hours a day do you guys work?
We were doing about 10, like
Yeah.
7 to 5 every day. No
Yep.
weekends off, obviously. So like
Yeah, why
at
would
the
you?
end of
Yeah.
your 14 days, it's like, okay, I'm hurt. I want to go home.
Yeah, I was gonna say right about that, like, 10-day mark, you start to really burn out. And then you could push it that little extra, but 2 weeks I feel is the perfect out of
Yeah.
town time for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I think my other trips will go by better as well. I think this one was a bit harder because it was only scaffolding because we were
Ooh,
starting on the third floor of the building and they have a lot of like high areas. That's all we did the whole like 2 weeks.
you're like
It's just
constantly holding your balance. That's tough.
yeah, but it's just like going up and down all the time,
Yeah,
and the
climbing
ceilings were all at an angle like that, so you're never at the perfect height. You're either reaching out or
way up
bending
here.
over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sucks. Okay.
But yeah. But yeah, that's done with. So next few trips will just be regular like 8 foot apartments, so it will be really good.
Well, and you'll love that, right? Because it's all from the ground and you can reach it with the poles and yeah, that's awesome.
Exactly.
Okay, that's a good time to take a break. We'll be right back.